Hello guys, welcome back. In this tutorial, we are going to learn a new feature about JavaScript, which is strict mode. Normally when we type JavaScript code, there may be syntax error in the code. Normally, we ignore it. Also, it do not provide any error message to our browser, but we get the effect later. And as I told you, browser do not provide any error message, so it's very difficult to rectify this kind of error. Let me show you an example. As you can see, x equal to 42. Here I take a variable named x and I assign a value 42, and then I print this variable in my console, and it's going to print 42 in our console. But if you notice, there is an error in our code. When I assign the variable value, we do not provide the declaration type. I want to say this variable type should be var, let or const, and our browser also not going to return the error. So there are many syntax errors that we miss out on, and it is very difficult to rectify. To resolve this problem, JavaScript came out a new feature, strict mode. Just we need to type a simple statement top of the code, something like that. Inside the quotation, use strict, and then you can type your JavaScript code. This command going to send a strict message to our browser. It is going to tell our browser if there is a syntax error in our code, send the error message and stop execution code. So now you understand why it is very useful. We can rectify our mistake with that. So let's start the practical and see how it's work. Here you can see, side by side I open my Visual Studio Code editor and I open my browser using Live Server extension. And I also create a HTML file named index.html. So first I'm going to create script tag. And now I'm going to create a variable, but I'm not going to provide declaration type. X equal to 42. And now I'm going to save this file and I'm going to show you my console. Here you can see there is no error in our console. So I'm going to type console.log inside the parenthesis our variable x. If I save this file, you can see my console, it print our value properly. But there is a syntax error in our code. We do not declare it is var, const or let. To solve this kind of problem, JavaScript introduces strict mode. For this, we need to type quotation, and inside this quotation we need to type use strict and semicolon to end this line. That's it. And remember, always you need to provide it top. If I save this file, now you can see in my console there is an error. X is not defined, line number 11. But if I use var and then save the file, here you can see it's print our result and there is no error. Let me show you another example. For this, we need to create a function. So I comment out this line and I'm going to create a function, and our function name is hello. Inside the curly braces, I'm going to take a variable, but I'm not going to declare the variable. B equal to 30. And also I'm going to remove this var keyword. If I save this file, you can see, and also I'm going to comment out use strict. And if I save this file, here you can see there is no error in our console. But if I turn on the strict mode and save this file, you can see the error, x is not defined. So I'm going to type var here, var. And if I save this file once again, you can see there is no error in our console. But you can see we do not provide declaration type for this variable. So I'm going to call this function hello. If I save this file, here you can see b is not defined. Now it shows the error. But if I type var and save this file, you can see there is no error in our console. So here you can see our use strict mode work on function and it also work on outside the function. And by mistake, if you type anything in your code which is don't follow the JavaScript rule and regulation, then it show the error. Not only that, we can use strict method inside the function. So I'm going to move inside this function. If I remove this var and save this file, now this method only work on inside the function, not outside the function. Let me show you. If I save this file, here you can see there is no error in our console. But as you can see, we do not use var keyword for declare this variable. But if we do not use declaration inside the function and then set the code, you can see the error now. Now you can see the error. It will be check only those code which is below than use strict. And now I am going to show you another example which is also related to function. For now, I am going to remove these lines. I don't need these lines. And I am going to pass some parameter in this function. And our first parameter is a, comma, b, comma, and our third parameter is also b. I use same parameter for our third parameter. And I am going to move this use strict outside the function. And for now, I am going to comment out this. And now inside the function, I am going to add these three values. And I want to print this in my console. So I'm going to type console dot log inside the parenthesis a plus b plus b and semicolon to end this line. And when I call this function, I'm going to pass three different values for this function: 5, 10, 15. That's it. We know if we sum these three variables, it's going to return 30. But if I save this file, you can see in my console, it returned 35. It's written a wrong result, 35. Because we use our second parameter twice. That's why it's written 35. And also it don't provide any error in our console. It's a very complex problem. So to avoid this kind of problem, we can use strict method. So I'm going to uncomment it. And I'm going to save this file. Here you can see my console. It prints syntax error, duplicate parameter, will not allow for this context. Our strict method provides proper error message. But if I comment out our strict method and save this file, then it's not provide any error message. And also it provides wrong value. To resolve this problem, we need to use proper variable name, C. And also I'm going to change here, C. And if I comment out this one, and save this file, now you can see there is no error in our console and it's also written the exact value. So here you can see using strict mode we can find the error in our code. Basically syntax error. And I suggest you always use strict mode for your code. Just include the line first and then type your code. That's it. Thanks for watching this video.